Hey everybody, let's continue our Elasticsearch Basic Training. So we're still using the same Swagger page. We're just going to be testing out one endpoint today. It's called the analyze endpoint, or underscore analyze endpoint, and it helps us understand how Elasticsearch processes the text that we give it. So let's just jump straight into it. I think it'll be pretty clear about what's going on here and why this is important. So as I said, it's underscore analyze, we post request to it. The post payload looks like this. We specify an analyzer and then we provide it with some text. And let's hit the execute button and you'll see that Johnny number 5 is alive, exclamation mark becomes Johnny 5 is alive. So that's actually what Elasticsearch will be storing in its index. So that's what's being tokenized or processed from the text into Elasticsearch. So so out of the box, you'll be using the standard analyzer for your text that you push into Elasticsearch. There's a number of other standard analyzers that you can look at. So out of the box analyzers. So for example, the keyword analyzer, and it pretty much does the opposite of what you'd expect an analyzer to do. It just puts out exactly the same text. So that's what's indexed in Elasticsearch. Johnny number 5 is live, exclamation mark, when it's processed through the keyword analyzer. So no lowercasing, no removing punctuation, nothing. As it mentions up here, there's 8 standard analyzers that you can use. There's documentation about those, but they may or may not meet your requirements. And if they don't meet your requirements, then that's fine. You have the ability to create your own custom analyzer. And a custom analyzer basically combines the 3 things, so character filters, tokenizers, and token filters that the out-of-the-box ones do, but lets you sort of tweak the configuration. So there's lots of parameters that you can provide to each one of those functions in that analysis chain. So let's just do one of the final example out of the box ones, which is the stop analyzer, and that's basically going to strip. So it becomes Johnny and alive. So is obviously a stop word, and it's removed the number and 5 and the punctuation. So that's another example of an out of the box analyzer. So let's go through the character filters. So there's 3 character filter examples provided here. In this example, the text is I feel smiley face. And so what we're going to do here is have a character filter that matches smiley face equal to good. So let's run that request. And you say, I feel good are the tokens that come out of that particular request. Let's do HTML strip, pretty much explanation, self-explanatory. You pass it some HTML text and it just takes the real text, not the HTML tags for indexing, which is great. So this one is an example where we have an account number which is probably being captured as a string and may have some additional dashes and currencies and those kinds of things in it. So we can use a pattern and replace to end up with the account number that we want there, which is really good. So that can be indexed and then searched much more easily. So they're the character filters, and then these are the tokenizers. So very standard tokenizer with lowercasing, pretty similar to the actual standard tokenizer. Noting that, for example, instructors has been kept together. So that will be the text that is indexed, and that's the text that will be searchable. So it has to be like that with the apostrophe. So it's the standard tokenizer. Let's look at the edge n-grams tokenizer. So importantly to note here is that we can specify some configuration values for this. What should be included, those kinds of things. So mingram, maxgram, and as expected, we see that the text as a standard edge n-gram being created, and then today being the end there. So useful for type ahead, different types of searching, those kinds of things. So that's edge n-gram. Let's just quickly look at the keyword tokenizer. So out of the box, the keyword analyzer, that's the one that they've provided for you out of the box. That analyzer doesn't lowercase text, so it doesn't standardize text. And if you're doing term aggregations, then they'd be treated as separate records. However, that's not really what you want. So in this example, you've got John Smith and John Smith, same, just with one with uppercase, one with lowercase. So if we use the keyword tokenizer, we can supply our own filter to lowercase those terms and get them standard. So you'll see here, John Smith, and so therefore they'll be aggregated together within a terms aggregation. So that's how you set that up here. Let's look at the simple pattern one. So these are all, again, just tokenizers, how the text is tokenized. In the example here, we've got basically if you've got medicines and you want to strip the amounts out because you want to do some analysis of those amounts, you can use this pattern token. Just go get me the numbers, word at least 3 and less than 7 characters, and then make that the searched or the indexed, and then obviously search terms. So that's the example there. Character group, very simple. This is basically saying split on comma. So tokenize on comma. So James Brown rules, which looks good. Now that we've finished the tokenizers, we've seen a couple of filters already. So the example, the lowercase one, we've seen a few times. But there's ones like this apostrophe one, which will then basically strip everything out of after the apostrophe. So John's runners becomes John runners. So it's basically deals with apostrophe. So you can see how you could then chain a number of these filters together to perform that analysis chain of the data that's being indexed into Elasticsearch. So stop word filter, to be or not be, that's the question. Yeah, and obviously the example here is that question becomes the only word that's in that text, which is actually indexed. So so you just got to be across these kinds of things because it can impact your results, and you need to understand how that data is being analysed, so you can then take a look, and that's what this endpoint is all about. Then there's a couple of there's quite a number of stemmers. So stemmers about reducing the words to their base form. So this is tennis players' rackets. So you'll see it becomes tenny, which is like obviously a shortened call part of the word tennis, and then player and racket. So there are a number of stemmers. There's some examples here just to show you how that works. So I think we've spoken enough about sort of character filters, tokenizers, and filters. So let's look at a big example where we've got a bit of each. And so in this example, we've got character filters that does that mapping between happy and not happy, those kinds of things, using the standard tokenizer. And then we're using a number of filters. So firstly, we're lowercasing, then we're stemming, and then we're removing stop words, and we're specifying a stop word of I'm. So the end result, is feel and good. They're the terms that will get searched. Will be searched, or they'll be indexed into Elasticsearch. If we add this explain equals to true on any of these requests, it actually allows us to see the full chain of analysis. So see the character filters being applied, the tokenizer being applied, and then a stream of token filters. So lowercasing, you'll see it getting lowercased, feeling, still feeling good, and then the stemmer, so I'm and feel now has been reduced from feeling, and then the stop words have been removed, and that's the final output. So hopefully you can understand that this is, a core part of understanding how your text is being analysed and saved into Elasticsearch for indexing. What you do is you basically do a lot of tests here, understand how your data is being analysed, why things aren't coming up in search results, why things are. This is the place to do that. Once you're happy, or you want to make some configuration changes, you need to go off and then save that configuration in the index mapping, and we'll cover that off within the next video. So hopefully that's useful. So all we've done is just spoken about this underscore analyze endpoint and the functions that it provide, which is really powerful, the ability to understand how your data is being searched and how your data is being indexed into Elasticsearch. In the next video, we'll take on that index configuration, so saving this analysis pattern there.